that Bon Iver, I'm just listening to it over and over. And do you remember when REM Monster came out and everybody said, just listen to it again? Do you remember that? Oh, Beavis? Beavis? Why do you always have technical difficulties? What do you got over there? You're the guy who runs the show. How could you not? How could you? What's going on, buddy? Your beard's coming in nice, though. I got a beard, too. But I think I'm going to shave it by the time next week. You'll see. I'm keeping my mustache, though. And that's just because of it's Movember. And last year I shaved my mustache because I had to do some wedding. But, well, no, it's because I was starting this job. But then I got a text from a guy who made it through testicular cancer. And because I always give people those switchblade mustache combs. And so I gave him one of those switchblade mustache combs. And he texted me a picture. Hey, I've still got your comb and he's growing a mustache. And I was just like, man, it was like one of those Braveheart moments. I will never not have a mustache again in November. Anyway, I still can't hear you. Can you hear me? Flip me off if you can hear me. No? Hello? The Vista 3 settings. I know right before this. What's this Xbox right here? Do I need to click that? Maybe I'm muting? No.
No, that was me.
That was my camera. It's just I just noticed I have a box that says no, I don't have a camera.
I lost my mic.
Where'd you lose it?
Well, no, like it just cut out on me. It was working when I started talking to you.
Oh yeah.
Crap. Okay, hold on.
You gotta buy another mic?
Well, I think I need another cable.
That's
It's one of those like the connector just went crappy.
Whenever the guy vacuums in here, he knocks loose my internet connection. So I thought I was gonna text you and say, "No, there's no thing going." But then I yelled at my teammate, and he said, "My internet's working." And so I was like, "Oh, no, it's the cord again."
Stupid cord again.
Stupid cord again. Do you get any of that B-roll? That's some good stuff. But do you remember when that Orange album came out? Whatever the Monster, it was Monster, REM.
Oh yeah.
I was in California at the time, and K-Rock was saying, "Just keep listening to it. You're gonna love it." And so I kept listening to it, and I did love it. You can make yourself like stuff. I think that's what that album taught me. Like if you just keep listening to it. And so I've been trying to do that with that new Bon Iver.
Yeah.
I just can't do it. And
you can't do it. Yeah.
And when I listen to REM now,
yeah,
I never listen to Monster. Do you? I don't know.
It's one of my favorite albums of theirs. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Hey, hold on a second. I'm going to try to find another chord real quick.
I always, yeah. Okay. Were you liking it? Did you like it right out of the gate?
I did. I liked Monster immediately.
I didn't.
I think I might be mixing them up though. I might be thinking of there was Automatic for the People, which was amazing, right?
Yeah, that's the one I go to. That's their best
album. All right, hold on.
There you go. Why can't we just use this one? What, you got something working now? What are you doing? Why do you have toilet paper 12 feet in the air? at the top of your bookshelf that I see, there's rolls of toilet paper. Okay, nobody touched this toilet paper. This is the magic stuff. This is the key. This is the key to civilization. When we're out of everything, we're gonna go way up here and get this toilet paper. Why do you got toilet paper way up there? Why you got toilet paper way up there? Hey, psst, psst. Hey. Why you got toilet paper at the top? Why you got toilet paper at the top of your bookshelf?
That's paper towel.
looks from the side. It looks. I was like, dude, this is last resort.
You enjoy reading way too much.
This is cool.
Let's see. Yeah, no, that's 100% paper towels.
Oh, okay.
And it's not really a bookshelf. Books.
Anywho, so I
should work.
now I've put my little brother on it. He's listening to the new Bon Iver, and he's going to tell me if he likes it or not. And if he likes it, I'm hoping he likes it. He's going to explain to me why.
Yeah.
That's my new game plan.
Well, we could hold on.
I can't just write him off. You know, there's so many buddies.
There's too many people we like that like it.
Yeah.
I think that's working now. Hold on.
Maybe Phil could chime in.
I was gonna say we could have a
but he probably has something to do with his production, you know, like
yeah, which I hate. I don't
I can't
that's the part I know I don't like about it.
I can't forgive that he doesn't like the newest metal. Like I love that stuff. I don't know, it makes me angry. I think that's, gosh,
it is funny though, like how we have friends where
it's funny that he backs you on the Nebraska thing.
That is kind of funny. Like, and when he does that, I feel like he might be the smartest guy alive. But then when he says other crazy stuff, I'm like, oh, no, you can't chime in on music. You don't know anything.
Yes, but he's a huge Pearl Jam fan, so that's kind of.
I don't think that's true.
He was huge when we were doing life together.
Phil's a little amorphous that way. Like I have a feeling he liked Pearl Jam because you liked Pearl Jam. Yeah, I'm not sure he loves Pearl Jam that much. I've known him for a long time, and the first time I ever heard him listening to Pearl Jam was when you were around.
Maybe those are Pearl Jam years. San Antonio.
Yeah, that can happen. That can happen.
He really was. He was instrumental in mentoring me at being broke and trying things out at the library.
Yeah.
You know, he was the guy who opened that door to me. Like I didn't do that before. You know, I would usually just listen to whatever was on the radio or whatever. And he was always kind of scouring libraries for just music.
That's true. And that downtown one was good for that too.
Yeah. That's how I found Animal Years. I think it was, in Josh Ritter's Animal Years. Yeah. Just, I mean, communicating on all levels. So you had probably already heard it. But,
no, I did not. I came to that one really late. Yeah.
My gosh, that's a good album.
I didn't get into Josh Ritter until Historical Conquest of Josh Ritter, which apparently is like his least popular album.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I thought it was great because he did something in that album which is like every song sounded like
Beatles still, you know.
Yeah.
What was it?
Wait, we landed on the moon? There you go.
I just watched that with Zeke. That's crazy. That's funny.
Oh man, that movie,
Dumb and Dumber.
Oh,
that's not as translatable humor. You know, it's.
I was surprised at that. To be honest, I was really like I showed it to my oldest son and they did not enjoy it at the level I really thought they would appreciate. Because I thought stupid is always stupid, but it didn't work for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, I think there was just too many time references, and I don't know what that was.
Which is weird because I wouldn't have guessed that from them. There's nothing cultural going on in that movie, I don't think, but maybe there is.
Yeah, I know. Whereas Mr. Deeds, have you watched
No.
my son? That's one I was. That's funnier. Son.
Okay. Well, that wouldn't take a lot because it wasn't that funny the first time.
Yeah. No, but it's John Turturro. It's all about John.
Oh, he's
Turturro.
hilarious. The sneaky guy.
Sneaky. How did you? I fear you underestimate my sneaky.
Yeah, John Turturro is great in that.
Yeah, Zeke keeps quoting that still.
That dude can really bowl too.
Yeah, yeah. Nobody messes with Jesus. Oh man, what a good day! What a good day! We get to talk to each other. I don't know. I'm feeling better. I've kind of resigned to the truth that I'm going to be sick more living in Michigan.
Oh really?
Yeah, there's almost every other week I have some sort of cold.
That sucks.
Getting over this latest rendition of it.
Hey, I'm going to turn off my camera, but we can still keep talking.
Okay, good. That's good. I'll miss you.
I can figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
You won't.
Why? You're going to I'm going to have a camera next week.
Yeah, then we can use them. That'd be
probably sitting on my doorstep right now.
It probably is not.
15 minutes away. You know,
if I know anything about that camera, I know it is not at your house.
Ordered it on Monday Prime. So
wow. Yeah, maybe. Sometimes.
It was $6. I was like,
yes.
I waited for it. It's on the half price, and it's still got like 4 or 5 stars. So I was like, dude, this is awesome.
You know what I found this morning when I was cleaning, or my wife was cleaning something out, and she found a webcam that we have. That I was about to send it to you.
Dude, that's communism.
It's not. You finally ordered something. You could have taken care of this months ago.
I know.
And then she said, "Oh yeah, we bought that like 5 years ago." And here's how I know there's a problem. It was 5 years ago. It was $12 5 years ago, Jason.
That's probably the same one. It's half price today.
I don't think it's gone up in price since then.
Oh, the joy of the Lord.
You're probably getting a better one. That's good.
It's raining here. Is it raining there?
No, it's gorgeous here.
Oh, wow. We had
this is like peak time of the year to live in San Antonio.
That's awesome.
Because it's like 75 or 80 every day.
Really?
You know, it's not too hot and it's not real cold.
I don't like it that hot. That's why it's the peak time to be in Michigan right now, just because it gets so cold, but it's so pretty. It's like brisk.
It is pretty. I do like brisk. I like brisk, but
yeah,
I like it for like a couple of days.
Yeah.
I like wearing shorts too much, you know?
Yeah, you are a shorts guy.
Yeah.
My turn to start?
Actually, it's mine.
5 best.
5 best, but you can kick us off if you want. Yeah.
5 best coming at you live. My name's Jason. This is my friend Greg.
And we are on a podcast, so it's probably not as live as Jason would make it sound. But go ahead, Jason. You got it.
We gather we gather around the microphone. Whoa, I gotta unplug that phone. We gather around the microphone once a week, and we just go through the 5 best things that we've encountered, or the 5 best ideas, or stuff we've read, stuff we've seen. And it's mainly a reason for Greg and I, because we've been friends for a little over a decade now, just to grab some time together and catch up on life and talk through stuff that's hitting us. So if you like it, make sure you subscribe, make sure you recommend it, or you put stars on it, or put whatever you can on it. And yeah, let's go. I think you're starting this week.
Yeah, and the only thing I'll clarify, because I have one in my top 5 that's a little sketchy. We do not put these in any particular order.
Yeah,
and they're not always bests. That's the other part. They're just something we want to talk about with the other person. We try to keep them to our best things so that we can have gratitude and be gracious and all of that. But yeah, so that's know that going in, that my list this week in particular. Last week I had like a bunch of music and some other fun stuff. This week is less fun for some reason. So
okay.
So know that going in, Jason.
Yeah, I'll get my tissue box ready.
Yeah, get ready to go. Boy, which one do I want to go first? All right, my first one is a kind of a shallow one, and this comes up every year at this time. But the NBA season is back. So the NBA started last night. That's exciting times. Your Lakers look terrible, so that's good.
Yeah.
My Bucks look a little better than that, but still kind of terrible.
They're not officially an NBA team, I don't think.
No, I think they are this year. I think that's what I'm excited about. They're actually going to get to be an NBA team. But right out of the gate, the Spurs just throttled the Warriors last night.
Yeah?
I don't know if you saw that or not. Yeah,
I did not.
Spurs beat the Warriors 129-100
Holy
in
cow.
Golden State. Yeah, they smoked them. First game without Duncan and first game with Durant, and the Spurs just smacked them around.
Goodness.
So, right out of the gate, man.
Do they still have Pop?
Yeah.
Okay.
So So the NBA season, for those of you who don't watch the NBA, is kind of long. It goes from now until almost July.
Yeah.
When you factor in playoffs and stuff. So I have to like this part of the season because I'm a Bucks fan, and we don't ever get to play in the later parts of the season. So like right now, I'm hopeful and I'm excited, and my team has a couple of young guys who could be really good. They're just not really good yet. So there's optimism, but I'm still a realist, Jason. It's not going to end.
I think this is going to be one of those bye seasons for me. I think I'm going to pass just because my Lakers stink so bad.
Yeah, but you live kind of close to Detroit, and they're not going to be terrible.
Yeah, and I always liked Detroit. Isaiah was the man. I liked back when Isaiah was around.
So this is a really random rabbit trail, but my 8th grade gym teacher called the last game of Isaiah Thomas's high school career. So Isaiah Thomas was like the star basketball player in Chicago, and he lost the state championship on a call that my 8th grade gym teacher made. He called Isaiah Thomas for charging, and that's how his high school career ended.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's not awesome, but
no, it's just a thing.
Just a thing.
Yeah. It's kind of fun.
All right. Thing, it is a fun thing.
Yeah, Mr. Tosh.
Mr. Tosh. Shout out to Tosh.
That dude was a good gym teacher.
I love good gym teachers.
Right?
Yeah. This
kind of seems like it wouldn't be that hard, but it must be because there aren't that many of them.
It's a sad fact of America.
Yeah. I just threw gym teachers under the bus. Sorry, gym teachers. Yeah. That's my bad.
Yeah. I haven't. Other than my own gym teachers, I don't know anyone who is a gym teacher.
Oh, really?
I don't think so. I don't think any of my friends became gym teachers.
I know people who started to become gym teachers and stopped. Like our friend Allie Melancon. She was going to school to be a gym teacher.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude.
Isn't that funny?
I praise God that we met her and God had higher hopes for her.
I agree.
All right. Let's go with my number one. It's it's not no particular order, but this is the first one I'm going to mention. I started at our council. We're going through different books, and we always we had these decisions to make, and so we decided to go through the story. Like Licato and Frazio and those guys, and so we're going through the story. That's not even my one, but the first thing I'm mentioning is I grabbed a copy of the story, and it was one that I had read through in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
And it's every once in a while my propensity towards discipline and kind of making myself read pays off, and it's fun to see some of these notes that are written because I'm an active reader. I kind of have to circle things and keep going. But it was interesting, like as the first or second chapter is about Joseph, and there's a line in here. What does it say? Hold on a second. It says, when he had shaved and changed his clothes, he came before Pharaoh. And I wrote in the margin in 2011, this is my journey right now. And so it brought me back to 2011. I was moving out of youth into missions, and one of the hugest lessons that I had to learn was, and it was from a mentor friend of mine. He said, "Start dressing like the guy you would want to beat up." Tuck in your shirt and wear slacks, like dress up, because you're going to be dealing with people that are, dressed nicer than the youth of the nation, you know. And it was a huge lesson. It was a huge, and it really was. It was cool how God used that mentor, and kind of it shaped me. And it was interesting to just read that in that little note in this book that I was making notations in. 2011. It's now 2006. That's 5 years ago. How many? Yeah, 5 years ago. And
You're on it, bro.
And it was just transported back to, that was one of my primary battles, like that God was like shaping me,
It is strange, right? Why is that a battle for us? Because I have that same battle. Like I hate dressing nice.
Yeah, but it was interesting because, and along the way, it just brought up all the words of my mentor, like, and it all came flooding back to me, and I was like, man, I'm glad I got to a different place just by working through that stuff. And I got to a place where, and one of the wisest things that the guy said also was, you're so youthful, it doesn't really even matter how you dress. And I learned that pretty, because I, even within boundaries, if I'm dressed in a suit, that still can't contain how kind of out of bounds I am. It just, it just pulls me in, just like, so I could communicate with people that are dressed nice, So I don't know. So that was my first thing that hit me this week, and it hit me earlier than So these are kind of chronological.
That's fine, but that's a good one. That's a good one to me. Like that's a good word for me. I need to hear that. I don't know what to do with it, but it is a good one. Which is weird for you. I feel like you're an old soul. Like you're an old, wiser person. So I think you dress youthful, kind of to pull it the other way. I think. Yeah, that's what I feel like. I think, and I think that's right for where you're at. You're ministering to college kids. If your outsides matched your insides, you'd be a 3-piece suit with like a timepiece. And like a cardigan sweater for sure. Yeah. And a monocle, and a top hat. Yeah. And probably in a wheelchair. And you would walk backwards for some reason. I don't know. I don't know what that's about, but you're probably right. That sounds right. Yeah. With a severe limp. No. Are you just describing House? He almost made one of my 5 best. I dig that guy. He's really funny. He is really funny. All right. He's really wise. I think you're right about that too. All right. My number 2 is this is kind of a semi-sad one and happy one, but a good friend of mine, his sister died, and I think I may have even mentioned that in last week's podcast. I can't remember, but it's just, that's been watching his family deal with some of that kind of from a distance has been really, really good to see and encouraging in certain ways. But kind of every once in a while when that happens, things come up and people need help. And so they sent out like this, through another mutual friend, a text that said, hey, we need some extra hands on Saturday morning. We're trying to clean out this house and we want to get everything ready for the landlord before all that stuff comes due and all that stuff. And so, so my oldest son and I threw on some shoes, and it was a Saturday morning. We had nothing else to do anyway. So we said, let's go work for a couple hours and move some stuff around. And there's a bunch of reasons this makes my 5 best, but one of them is just the promise in Scripture that this is what true religion is. Yeah. Is caring for orphans and widows. And it's when you legitimately can step into people's pain and alleviate some of it. Yeah. Sometimes that's like, that can go too far, and we can get these kind of weird hero complexes and stuff. But we just move some furniture around, like it wasn't anything. Like, we're not going to make that better, but there is a way to alleviate some of it, and that's like, I think the hardest part with a lot of grief is not being able to do anything, and so to be able to do something to help is sometimes whether that's baking food or whether it's praying or whether it's moving furniture or whatever. I think that was really cool. But then I got to do it with my oldest son, and we got to have some conversations about life and like what this kind of stuff means and what grief is and how people make choices and all that kind of stuff. And it was, and he's been lifting weights and doing all kinds of stuff for soccer to be in really good shape, and to get there and have him be able to throw around a dresser and stuff is pretty cool.
That is good.
So it was good on so many levels for me, and I just thinking about that family and praying for those guys, and it's such a brutal hit, and it's I can't even imagine, and so to be able to step into that for just a little bit and to be able to leave it and not have to live with it is a blessing for me. And I know it's not for them, but we're still praying for those guys. So
wow, all right, that's it. I'll dovetail that straight in. We won't go chronological, but this. Yeah.
We ruined your plan already, Jason.
Yeah, we ruined our plan already. But my what was going to come up later in my best was this Sunday is the anniversary of my mom's passing, October 30th, and I picked up Mudhouse Sabbath again. We've gone through it together as buddies, and I actually picked that up I think for the first time in San Antonio. So it kind of
it came out when we were hanging out together. Yeah.
Yeah. So my mom passed in 2003, and so then I was there in 2006 or 2005, and so I was going through that, just her chapter on mourning, and I just read it again, and it's really if you never heard of the book, it's just this girl, Lauren Winner. She was raised Orthodox Jew, and then she converted to Christianity. And this is her take on what we as Christians can learn from the spiritual disciplines that Judaism hands down to us. And I think one of the chapter that shines brightest in the book for me is the chapter on mourning. And there's so many things that book equipped me to really celebrate my mom's life better, and that when you were talking, it reminds me of when she's talking about, like the Jewish, the Jewish tradition of, people coming over and sitting with those that have lost. And it's not to say anything.
Yep.
It's just to be a witness. It's just to be, and that's what you guys were doing when you're moving furniture. You're saying, my eyes see your situation.
Yeah.
I see you in this valley. And that's just so, that's so crucial. That's such a crucial part of it. And so I was just reading through this and getting prepared for Sunday, just celebrating my mom's passing into the kingdom eternal. We always do, and she suggests lighting a candle too.
Yeah.
On those deep days of remembrance, and so we'll light our candle because I get a candle every couple of years because I burn them all the way down. But it's awesome. like you said, it's not really a best, but it's something I've been thinking about this week, and it's good that I'm thinking about it earlier, rather, because there's been years that I kind of let it slip, and then all of a sudden the 30th hits.
Yeah.
And I'm just super depressed, and I don't know what the heck's going on.
Right.
And then, but then I, okay.
Yeah.
But it's good that God brought it to my attention early, and I'm preparing myself. And so
I would piggyback on that one, Jason. Just a couple of things, like being with you in the midst of some of that stuff for at least a few years. I've always been amazed at your ability to share that, to make your personal mourning and grief something that helps transform the community. That's a really cool gift that you bring, or that you guys collectively, you and Malia and your family, have been able to share with and for other people. So I would encourage that, however, just as a word of encouragement. And then also that chapter on mourning, I would for sure, I would just double emphasize that. We use that all the time in our ministry right now still.
Yeah.
And just that chapter, like,
yeah,
I think I'm giving just that chapter to more people than, like, most people won't read the whole book for some reason. She's a great writer, so it's a super, it's a super easy read on that level. Like she's a really gifted writer, but yeah, just that chapter to kind of go back over and I mean, I know Allie gives it out all the time. I give it out all the time, and it's constantly a recommendation. It's also one of those things. Like I think she's right in the sense of the Jewish faith prepares you for this in a certain way.
Yeah,
there is an element of the Christian faith where we don't talk about this or prepare for this.
Yeah,
and there is way more death in people's lives when they're young than we admit.
Yeah,
I think, or talk about, and so. And I did not have that. And like, I think when I knew you, my aunt died. And then, so having you around, having already experienced it and going through it was a super helpful, that was a helpful friendship for me in that moment. Cause that was the first person I really cared about who had died that way, or a family member who had died that way. So,
yeah. I echo what you just said. And I think we don't talk about it as Christians. And I think we do need to, I remember reading the first time through, the biggest thing that shocked me was in Judaism, when you lose somebody you love, you don't go to church. You don't go to, you have the church come to you.
Yeah.
And I think we do damage, you know. I was up, you know, leading worship, you know, a couple weeks after my mom dying. And I just like, and I knew that it felt wrong. I felt like I was, if I was a piece of wood, I was cutting against the grain, and it felt like sandpaper, you know. And I just, did I lose you?
Oh, no, I'm still here.
Okay, good. But anyway, so yeah, that's my two. That's my response. And we broke up the chronological, but that's okay.
That's all right, man.
Yeah, we're all right. We're still okay.
All right, we're gonna be okay.
Okay.
All right.
Hit me with your three
things about the work to meet people when they're in ages of their life or seasons of their lives where they're willing to be formed.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. The downside to that is once they're shaped, then they leave a lot of times. And so I've got a good friend who works for me now named
Man, you're cutting in and out. Hopefully this doesn't show up in the recording.
Oh no!
I hope is it on my end or your end?
I think it may be your end. I'm
okay.
Hang on now. Still?
Yeah. Let's pause it for a sec. I think we're back.
Yeah, it's on your end.
Dang it! That stinks.
Got on your. So that's working.
There it is. Okay, we fixed something. All right, hit it. Nah, you're still cutting.
I'm still cutting out. Man, that's weird, dude.
All right, now go again. Now you're not.
Yeah, but I'm not saying anything.
Okay, but you can hear like the, you know what I mean?
Nope. Now you cut out all the way. Now I don't hear you at all.
Can you hear me?
There
now?
you go. Now I hear you.
This is messed up. I think it might be because of the storming that's happening in Muskegon.
That's possible. All right. Well, let's try to.
Yeah, let's try and power through.
All right.
Power through. Just get.
It's working on my end, so you should know that.
Okay.
And my end's the one that's recording it, so we're probably okay. But
okay,
but unless you can't hear me, then it gets. All right. So this is a shout out to my friend Willie Maha, who is a young guy who's out of high school and has been in college for a little bit, and he's on my staff this year in college missions job. He's stuff. He's great with people. He cares about people. He loves Jesus. All of that stuff, and he's just fun to be around. But in the last couple of weeks, for the last few months, he's been being interviewed and talking to this IT firm in Dallas, and they finally kind of pulled the trigger and offered him a contract, and it's too good a fit, and it's too much money, and it's too everything else, and it's like, all right, you got to go do that. So anyway, I'm gonna miss Willie like crazy and miss having him around. But it's one of the blessings and curses of our job is to get to watch young people grow up and then move on to other stuff that you're excited for them for. But you're just like, man, I wish I could keep you forever, but it doesn't work that way.
Yeah. And I'm at the tail end of that. Who I'm ministering with are the next time I see him is Kingdom Eternal, and most of their lives are in the rear view mirror. So it's an interesting. That's been the most interesting kind of shift as I've been coming up to Muskegon. Just it's a different. It's a different thing to. I felt like when we were working together in San Antonio, we were helping them leave us. We were like preparing them to dream and to go after things that God has called them to. Whereas I'm helping my congregants kind of remember and just see how God has been faithful and preparing them to go off and to be with Jesus forever. So they leave me behind wicked. I'm wicked jealous. Like, yeah. So I miss that part of your ministry, but I do remember how much it hurts.
Yeah, that part hurts a lot.
It hurts so much because it's like they become part of you. Like their dreams. They matter so much to you that you start dreaming on their behalf, and they're just like, man, I wish I could be in all these places at once. I wish I could be with Trevor. Not Trevor, T-Bone. What's his name? Yeah, Trevor. Travis. I wish I could be with Travis, Sutterfield, Khaki. I wish I could be at all places at once just to see how God's blowing all their stuff up. It's just so cool.
Yeah, it really is cool.
But it's hard to miss that.
Yeah.
I hear that.
So anyway, shout out to Willie Maha. I'm excited for you. I'm excited for your adventures in Dallas. And he's been a great moment from last night at one of his last programs. One of his last fires was last night, and a girl introduced herself as a pre-med major, and his immediate response was, "Let me talk to you about tithing."
Maha, that's awesome.
I'm gonna miss that about Willie.
Willie Maha, that's awesome. That's wicked good. Well, my 3 or 4. I don't even know what number I'm on.
It should be 3 now.
I think we're on 3. Yeah.
I think that's right.
Let me write a 3 next to this, and then we'll do it. Well, back when I was a middle schooler in Massachusetts. This is the setup. I'm the setup. This was gonna blow up. This was gonna change it.
I'm a little nervous now.
No, it's not gonna. It's gonna be a letdown, but that's okay.
Oh, that's all right.
So I grew up in Millis, Massachusetts, and we had an Atari 7800 or whatever the second one was.
Yeah.
It was a 5800 or 7200 or something like that.
Yeah.
And then my friend down the street, his name was Jason Clay. He got Nintendo, and we played Mario Brothers all the time.
Sure.
I never, ever completed Mario Brothers. I saw Jason Clay do it.
What?
And I was like, oh, that's wicked good. But since it wasn't mine, I was just playing second fiddle, whatever.
Yeah.
Fast forward a couple years, I'm doing my first full-time ministry job in New Jersey. And the week after we moved there, we find out that twice a year they do this. It's a billionaires town, Summit, New Jersey. They do twice a year these bulk pickups, and they empty out the house, and then they whatever. And they redecorate. We find a Nintendo with Super Mario Brothers in it.
It's like
on the
Fate.
side of the road. Yeah, it's the Fate, whatever. I play in Super Mario Brothers, but I never really beat it. There's a guy, Mike Sampson, he's an intern who lives with us, who's doing his hospital chaplaincy, at the hospital that Zeke ended up being born at, Overlook Hospital. But he was 6'7", just giant, jolly, amazing guy. He beats it, and she shows. I can't beat this stupid thing. Anywho, we put the Nintendo and the Mario Brothers away. We live in Texas. We never break it out, I don't think. We go back to California. We never really break it out in California. We come to Michigan. My kids are wanting to buy a PS3 or PS16 or something like that. I say, we're not buying nothing. We're getting out the Nintendo.
We're not buying anything until Daddy beats Super Mario Brothers.
Absolutely. So on Monday, just a couple days ago, October 24th, 2016, I beat Nintendo's Super Mario Brothers.
Wow.
And the whole family was there witnessing. And it was awesome. It was
I've
just
never
a
been prouder
celebration.
of you, Jason.
Yeah, it was a celebration to be had by the Griffithses.
Yeah,
But
I wish you'd have shared that. We could have all like I would have had cake and everything here for you. That's
That's funny. But so that's my number 3. But just on top of that, you learn the lesson, and we being pastors, we always find something to preach out of it. When you beat Mario Brothers, it starts over at the beginning,
yeah,
but everything's more difficult.
yeah,
Everything speeds up, and it just reminded me of when Jesus says, if you're given much will be expected. Also Spider-Man says it
why
too.
do we have to go there? Why didn't we just
And
just
Spider-Man
leave it
says
at
it too.
let's just leave it at
Spider-Man
celebration.
says it too.
Let's just leave it at celebration. Let's not make a teaching point out of it.
I like to celebrate and teach.
All right,
Chris.
but the teaching part may not be spectacular in this case.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It would be better is if forever that game was changed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if you turn it off and then you turn it back on, you're back at
It starts over. Yeah.
Yeah. But as long as you don't turn it off,
If you could never go back to the original version.
that would be fresh.
Yeah. That'd be really cool.
That'd be more like life,
So you beat the original Super Mario Brothers on an original NES. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Classic,
That's it.
Jason. Classic. I don't know if we
Classic.
can ever top that one. So this might be your first win. Well, you might have it.
It's not over yet.
Well,
It's not-
oh no! In some effort to rescue us from that, I have a Twitter quote that I want to respond to.
This is your 4.
Just talk to you about. Yeah,
Okay.
I did not like this quote, so I'll tell you that up front.
Okay.
So there's a Barney Frank. Have you ever heard of this guy?
No.
He's a senator or a congressman from Massachusetts or New York or somewhere out that direction, I think. But
Okay.
he was on a talk show and he said, if you are serious about your values, you are morally obligated to be pragmatic. And then, so that was the quote that then got put on Twitter. And I actually had 3 or 4 different friends send that around. And I don't know if I've run across, well, I'm sure I have run across quotes on Twitter, I believe less than that. But I don't know if I have on quotes that people are serious about. Like, if you are serious about your values, you are morally obligated to be pragmatic.
You are morally.
I don't 100% know why it immediately drives me bonkers, but it does. It's like absolutely cuts against almost everything I think about the gospel.
Yeah.
What if one of your values is not being pragmatic? For one thing, right? Like that would immediately rule it out. But I think I'm constantly struck by the pragmatism of our culture, like the idea that if something works, it has to be right.
Yeah.
And it's sort of a self-justifying system all the time, just based on if it works or succeeds.
Yeah.
And it's so antithetical to the gospel.
Yeah, it is.
That it's just hard to take, But I see it everywhere. And in election season in particular, this is one that comes up all the time. And this is what gets us, voting for the lesser of two evils and all this kind of language. It's all ends justifying the means stuff. Like it's 100%. If it works, then we have to do it. If it gets us what we really want, then we should go ahead and do it. I don't know. That just hurts.
I think of 2 major flaws with it. One is I think the gospel at its root is not pragmatic.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's not pragmatic to love your neighbor. It's not pragmatic to seek to be humble. It's not pragmatic to follow the loser,
Yeah.
and make your life more like the servant rather than the master. I think that goes totally against the heart of the gospel. I think you're right when you said, I think there's just something that goes absolutely against. And the second flaw I see with it is I think it's tied into that. Remember, I was last week. One of my 5 best was, and it wasn't necessarily because it was a good book, but it was the Pressure Cooker. What was it called? Pressure's Off. The Pressure's Off by Crab.
Yeah,
but and he addresses that one of the major flaws of Christianity is we sell it as the good life. This is the way God wants you to have life because it's going to be good. And there's a flaw right in the middle of that, just because what God thinks of our good life is a lot different than what we picture as pragmatists what good life looks like.
Exactly.
I think that's the second major flaw. I kind of got off Twitter, so I haven't.
Yeah, that's good.
I haven't seen people. I haven't seen people blow up with stuff like that. But no, maybe I'll get back on it because I do like to mix it up with.
Well, it's just one of those where once in a while you see something articulated so clearly that you like do a double take and say, "Did they really say that out loud?" And they did. This is what he said out loud. So.
And it's interesting. What always surprised me is with quotes like this is who checks it off. I'm like, hey, there's things that have happened on Facebook, and I'm like, really? You're quoting that? You posted that?
Yeah.
It makes me want to just email them or text them. Hey, you should probably pick up this book or pick up this scripture. You should maybe spend some time with Jesus.
Yeah, that one got me wound up this week. So that was one of. It's not really a best because it's not something I'm really grateful for, but it is. It is helpful once in a while to have something articulated so clearly that you can kind of hold it up from then going forward and saying, "Is this actually something we believe about the world or not?"
Yeah, I like it. Sometimes I remember when a buddy of mine bought me that Bertrand Russell book, Why I'm Not a Christian. And I think that made the 5 best in the same way that book makes the 5 best.
That's right.
It's a good like mirror check of saying, no, I don't think that's right.
That's right.
Let's do okay. My 4 is I'm checking out this TV show, Falling Water. Have you heard anything about it? It's on USA.
Yeah, I know of it, but it looked creepy and interesting, but I didn't watch it.
Yeah, I've checked out the first 2 episodes. It's one flaw is it could have no direction. Like it could have like the J.J. Abrams Lost thing, like where everything kind of just goes so far apart that you don't know what the heck is happening.
Yeah.
But the pluses for it are it's very good actors. There's I think one of the guys was on Lost, that guy with the beard and the glasses. He was either on Lost or another one of J.J. Abrams' shows.
Okay.
So it's a good cast. I love the music. The music, it reminds me of Fight Club. It reminds me of that. It's that Massive Attack. The band is Massive Attack.
Okay.
It's like that kind of trip hop, like
yeah.
It just gives it an eerie, cool feeling.
Yes. Yeah.
And I like, and it has a similar theme of, but instead of, what's the one you turned us on to this summer?
I don't know.
What's that TV show? And then it took you said it before anybody I knew, and then everybody in the mother.
Was Stranger Things.
Yeah, Stranger Things. It has that same idea, but instead of what if there's an underworld, what if our dreams matter more than we think they do?
Yeah, that's interesting.
That's I like that premise a lot, because I don't know, just dreams intrigue me. Dreams have always intrigued me, and ever since I had a Bible study leader when I was in high school. He was a Persian guy, and he was brought to Christ through a dream. And then 3 out of the 4 people that I know that are Persian and are believers were brought to Christ through dreams, which is
what?
Yeah, it's a weird deal. I'm
going to claim small sample size on that.
Yeah, it is a small sample, but it's also always intrigued me.
Yeah, it's super intriguing. Yeah,
and because then you read the New Testament again, Joseph's told that Jesus is the Son of God through a dream, and dreams played a bigger part. And I don't know.
No,
I'm interested, like everybody,
I'm intrigued in that, yeah.
You get a dream, you get dream, angels, or Dracula. And I'm
There
there.
you're in. That's your
I'm in.
you're in on all that.
I'm in. And werewolves.
Yeah, that's right. Oh boy, it sounds
Twilight,
cool.
except Twilight.
Yeah.
I'd like to make note that no one should ever watch that. Keep going.
I don't know about watching it. I read all of those books though. Yeah.
Yeah, they any good?
Yeah, they're all right. Like they're what they are. I mean,
they're teeny popper
yeah.
girl. They're Satterfield fiction.
Yeah, you don't want to compare them to something else. I remember I read, this is like when I was a youth minister, my wife and kids were gone for like 2 weeks, and I can't remember where they were going or why.
I think I remember that.
Some kind of vacation. Yeah, I think we talked about it at the time, but I basically read all of the Harry Potters in a week. And then I read all of the Twilights in a week. And I finished the Twilights, and somebody asked me how was it. I go, it's kind of like eating an entire box of chocolate covered cherries. Like you can do it, but when you're done, you're not real sure why or that it meant anything. Like
that's the greatest illustration I've ever heard. That's awesome.
It's kind of like that. Like it's like, yeah, all right, I did that, and it wasn't terrible. Like I don't hate myself for doing it, but I also don't know that I would ever do it again.
That's really funny.
All right, my number 5 is the lectionary readings this week. One of them is Habakkuk or Habakkuk, depending on, I guess, where you live or whatever. But
whether you're east or west of the Mississippi.
Yeah, I don't know which one's which, but I know people who say it different ways. And it's not a book I read all the time. And when you do read it, it's like in one of those, like read the Bible in a year and you just plow through it real quick, because it's a page and a half long. So it's not hard to do, but I was looking at it again for Bible study this week, and this is tied to my pragmatism conversation in the last one, but chapter 2 starts with this. I will take my stand at my watch post and station myself on the tower and look out to see what he will say to me, and what I will answer concerning my complaint. And there's an element, I just, like when I was teaching this week and talking to my Bible study guys on Monday, and we were looking at it, and it just occurred to me again that like just this element of standing firm, of like, I'm not like Habakkuk isn't standing firm because he knows what God's going to do. Yeah. He's not standing firm because it's pragmatic or it's going to work, right? Yeah. He's standing firm because it's the faithful right thing to do in that situation. Yeah. Regardless of the outcome. And I think that's the one to me of like, there's something missing in us as followers of Jesus when that doesn't make sense to us anymore. Yeah. When that's weird. And like martyrdom doesn't make any sense if you lose that. Like when effectiveness or pragmatism or results determine what our faithfulness is, then it's not scriptural faithfulness anymore. Yeah. And there's something really tough about that.
That's a huge lesson. And I was just preaching. I preached because we were going through Ezekiel. We just finished up this, but one of mine was on how God makes him a watchman and him standing strong. And it's very similar to that text. And so, and I think we're in huge, I know I'm in huge danger of losing, of that making no sense to me.
Me too.
Because I was just the other day, I'm driving to Cherokee, which is the place we do Bible study every Tuesday morning at 7. And right next to it, there's Gene's gas station and, auto mechanic. And that's where we take our cars. He's a grandson of a congregant, that kind of thing. But pitch black, freezing, so cold. It's like below my thing, my light on my Prius is blinking. You could die, it's like it could be ice around. And Gene, the grandson of Gene, the guy who started the thing, is wheeling out the cart of the oil that goes on the island right next to the gas pumps. It's like it's a cart with some shelves on it. And so he's wheeling it out there, and it's pitch black and it's cold. And I was just thinking, man, that's his life. He wakes up every day He
Yeah.
wheels that thing out. He goes inside. He probably reads the paper about, how the Lions are doing. And then he works on some cars. He fills some gas for some of the cars. And then he goes home and he does it all over again the next day. And that's a part. And I think that's the heart of this, like America, like this election. That's the heart of, that newspaper article you or that Facebook quote, like that Facebook. I think that's at the heart of all that stuff. Is there's this Midwestern, like, that he's doing it, and I don't think it's pragmatic. I don't think it doesn't make any sense at all. Like, it makes zero sense to a pragmatist why these people keep doing what they're doing. Yeah, keep going. And they do it from just a sense of faithfulness, a sense of duty, a sense of this is why I'm here. And I think a little of that needs to rub back onto the church.
That's right. I think that's true. So the other story I was thinking about when I was talking, like on Monday when I was talking about this with some folks, was the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego when they get thrown into the fiery furnace.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, there's the part I remember distinctly being a college student who knew my Bible well. I'd already passed like a bunch of my Bible tests and all that stuff, and a professor opening me up to, when they get thrown into the fiery furnace, they say, we're not going to bow to rescue us. And that's where that story always ends in like VeggieTales or when you read it or whatever. But the next line of that story is, but even if he doesn't, we're not going to bow. Yeah. And it's like, that's the part. Like I think, I don't know if it's in how we've marketed the gospel. I don't know if it's like subtle things we've bought into in the pragmatism of our world. I don't know what it is or where we've made concessions, but even if he doesn't part doesn't feel right to us. Yeah. And I shouldn't throw everybody under the bus, to me, right? Like, my impulse is like, yeah, this absolutely is the right decision if it works. But if it doesn't work, like, what's the value of being faithful? It's like, that's such a bad set of questions.
Yeah, because it sets us up for failure, because there's been countless times in my life where I've lost, it hasn't come out that way. And so then I'm like having conversations with God. Hey, I thought I was supposed to have the easy road, man.
Yeah. What happened?
I thought this was the pragmatic way. I thought this is like, I'm faithful to you, you're faithful to me kind of deal.
Right. Why didn't you hold up your end of the deal?
Yeah. And so I think we have all kinds of those conversations on the tail end.
That's right.
Because going into it, we don't properly sit on this idea of, no, we're supposed to be watchmen. We're supposed to just say, this is where I stand. Yeah.
Well, and I think that's it's just little concessions along the way.
Yeah.
But then I also think, like, as we're talking about it too, that like, even your point about, like, if you believe in pragmatism, the gospel does, like, so much of the gospel makes so little sense. Yeah. And it's like, and that's what happens, right? Like, it's these little concessions around some of this stuff that then when we go back to the gospel is like, well, maybe Jesus says take care of poor people, or maybe it's actually, that doesn't totally make sense. So I'm going to put money towards charity instead, or I'm going to, like, it's not pragmatic to actually give money to poor people, or it's not, like, you start running through these things that aren't pragmatic. And then you get to a spot where you have two people running for an office and you have to decide. And the only options you have are super pragmatic, bad options, right? I mean, it spirals out at a certain point. But to me, those last two are obviously connected in my brain, but it's something that I've been struggling with lately. So it's encouraging to have you speak into that.
Yeah, it's funny because you've spoken to that me so many times, and almost every time I come across this, like if I'm at such and such a seminar and some pastor's saying how this is going to change the whole world, or some leader's going to change, I usually hear your voice asking Rich Conwisher, how is that not consumerism?
Man.
I think you're like that mouthpiece. I think that's one of your major questions that you give to the people around you in the church. I think, and I think it's a hill worth dying on. I think We need to continually, even, and I'm sure the question comes back to yourself too. And I know it's come back to me, usually in your voice, and it makes me feel horrible. But you know, when you're in those, like, it's just so easy to get caught up in the stream. You know, when everyone else is thinking pragmatically. You know, there's not a business person on my church council that doesn't naturally think pragmatically, because in the world of business,
you have to.
Yeah, it's the bottom line. You know, like if we don't think pragmatically, we're going to end up in the red and not in the black. You know, that's what it comes down to. Whereas that's my major challenge. You know,
right. And what the hardest part of all of that is there is something true in pragmatism, right? Like this is what's tricky about it all the time is I do want a car. I do want the gas that makes my car drive further than the gas that doesn't, right? And I do want, you know, I do want to have access to things that make my life easier most of the time. But there is something about the gospel that has to at least make us question that. And once in a while, like I was thinking about this, talking to a buddy of mine recently, he got me thinking about this in a different direction. But when was the last time we didn't get what we wanted? Yeah. And it was like, man, I don't know. Like when everything's available all the time, just intentionally not getting what you want sometimes is probably good for us.
That's a wicked good question. Gosh, you get it. Once again, you beat that. I think that question beats all.
Dude, you beat Super Mario Brothers. Don't sell that short. Don't sell that short. That's like an almost 40-year journey for you. And you accomplished it. So don't sell that one short, bro.
What are you not getting yourself? That's a good one. So I like that a lot. It makes me think. Do you remember back when we were hanging out, you came across a bumper sticker it said, I trust God with everything, but I lock my house, or something like that. You remember that? And that kind of points to this line that we're walking, you know?
Yeah. Well, yes, it does.
On a lighter side of it.
On a lighter note, yeah. Go ahead, dude.
This is accessible, you know, the 5 minutes. Okay, my last one is, my number 5 is yesterday. We have I've mentioned that McGrath, the church I serve, they keep the place immaculate, and we have this amazing buildings and grounds. They call themselves the coffee grounds because they drink coffee and they take care of the grounds of the church.
Oh boy,
they're pretty clever.
They're not great at naming stuff, but they're great at keeping the grounds clean.
But one of our the accountant of our church, he's retired and he has some money, and he has 120 acres up in Shelby, which is just a little north of us, and it's wooded and it's got hills, and he uses it for hunting. You know, he's got a couple deer hunting stands, and he's got a couple, you know, whatever. And but he once a year takes this coffee grounds group, and and I was invited because I'm the pastor. I don't really do much except preach, but
I know you. I know you're not.
I haven't picked up a single leaf. I want to make that known. But we go up there and we get on quads. He's got a bunch of quads, and we just ride around. He's made these trails, and it's just really fun. Just because they're all old, retired guys, and we're just shredding around, and I'm just this young kid, and we're just flying around. And so that's kind of my 5th best. But more than that is I couldn't help but be brought back to my when I was a kid in Massachusetts. My older brother had a dirt bike, a CR80, 1980 CR80, and we would just ride around the woods behind our house and stuff. He was there. It was so cool just to
that's awesome.
Just to be back in the woods riding on this quad, and I couldn't keep from calling him later that day. Like, it was just like it was like one of those moments where, like, if I were to see, you know, if I were to go to a Green Bay game and I would see them winning the Super Bowl, I couldn't help but want you right next to me just to share it with. You know, it was like that, but it was just with my older brother, and we haven't really connected, you know, in a couple of years. But it was so neat that I have all those memories flood back in, and then my brother and I had a really good conversation yesterday on the phone because of it, and it was cool to remember that that's the kid that brought me to Jesus. That's the kid who he walked first, and I kind of followed. And if it wasn't for him, I don't know who I'd be or where I'd be.
That's awesome. Yeah,
it was a cool little ended in a worship moment at the end.
I love
of
that.
Yeah. So that's my 5th.
I love that. That's awesome.
That's my 5. That's my 5.
Yeah, I love that, and I love to think about like what sort of those moments where like you can't help but call the other person, right?
Yeah,
it's definitely like it's different for everybody in your life, and you have different associations and all of that. That's a fun one. That's a fun thing to think about this week.
What makes you think? Well, like what are those moments that like?
All right. Well, this is going to immediately cut to Greg is a cynic and can't shake this grief stuff. But that was what I went to immediately. Was there have been a couple moments in my life where the ones that stand out to me are the ones where I haven't been able to call the person because you know what I mean? Like, and that's the one, like when you brought it up, I was like, oh, that's awesome. I love that feeling. And then I remembered immediately, like the 2 or 3 times where I've had something I wanted to call and talk to my aunt about, and she's not there or whatever it is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's where my head went immediately. But there are other ones where like, I saw something and just laughed hysterically. And I was like, oh, I've got to call my brother because he's really the only person in the world who will know why this is funny.
Yeah.
And so, you know, like that kind of thing where it's like, or you see a bumper sticker and it makes you, since we were talking about bumper stickers, there's one, and my buddy Greg is another guy that I just call for these things. And I ran across it. God bless our troops, especially our snipers. And I was like, oh boy.
Dude, I this just camp out for that for a second. Cause immediately you go to paint.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think there's something to that because there's probably been more of those moments where I've wanted to say something to my mom, you know.
I think they're just, I
wonder if it's a statement. I wonder that if you can deduce that grief and suffering is deeper than joy.
Well, that's possible.
I don't know.
I'm willing to hold that open as a possibility.
That's a philosophical. That's deep, man.
Well, it might be.
You might want to just turn off 5 Best right now because that's as deep as it gets, people.
Here's the other possibility, which is less deep.
Drop the mic.
Is that we don't remember the feelings that get satiated the way we remember the ones that don't. So the calls that I wanted to make that I couldn't make, I remember because I couldn't do them. But the ones that popped into my head and I called the guy immediately, that's gone, right? Like I did that. So it doesn't have the same emotional weight anymore because I shared it already.
Huh.
I don't know. That's another argument.
That could be it, but I think it's...
I think yours is better. Yeah, suffering and joy, I'm sure, is worse. Yeah.
Oh, the joy of the Lord. Anyway,
when in Rome. Yeah.
When in Rome.
All right, brother. Always good.
Oh, it gets tough.
Hey, wait, we didn't have any music.
You know the rest. You know the rest. Yeah, I've been kind of on a music. I can't keep bringing up Bruce, but I've been on the Bruce kick as I've been reading this Bruce stuff, and then I've been trying to love that Bon Iver, and I just can't do it.
It's just not coming. Yeah,
it's not coming. I don't know.
I read a really great Bruce Springsteen quote this week that made me think of you, but I might have to save that for next week's 5 Best. I don't know. We'll see.
No, you don't have to.
I gotta find it then. Hold on, man. Now I gotta find it.
No. But I enjoyed that millennial video.
That one's pretty funny.
That was pretty funny. You sent me on the Facebook on the Facebook. It didn't make my 5 Best just because it was so. I don't know.
I agree. Didn't make my 5 Best either.
Yeah. But it was funny. Who says? But then another buddy of mine, it almost made me. Jim Jeffries' bit on